was our first full day in Niger, and we spent it at a clinic in Kollo. Laurie and I spent the morning working in the maternity section, assisting pregnant women who were coming for checkups. While we were working, we met a beautiful young girl named Fati. When she came in, it was obvious by the way she was acting that she was extremely nervous. She did not speak English, but our translator helped us learn more about her story. Fati was 27 years old. 4 months prior to this, she had been married, but this was her second marriage. In Niger, women do not have much of a choice in divorce. If their husband decides they no longer want their wife for any reason, they can divorce them, no questions asked. In Fati's case, her first husband divorced her because she had not been able to give him a child. Fati was visiting the clinic that morning in a great deal of abdominal pain, but more than anything, she was hopeful that she was pregnant. Given her history, she knew her current husband would divorce her too if she was unable to give him a child. She had been in pain for several months. While she asked her husband repeatedly if she could see a doctor, the visit would cost them a lot of money, so he refused her request each time. Finally, Fati's mother visited with Fati's husband and pleaded with him to allow her daughter to seek medical treatment. This time he agreed, but on the condition that she must pay for it herself. Her mother promptly borrowed everything she could from friends so she could be at the clinic that day. With all this weighing on Fati, you could see that she was extremely nervous to be examined. Miriam, the clinic's coordinator, was so good with her. She spoke calmly and tried to reassure her that she was in good hands. The results of Fati's exam were troubling. She had a very bad infection and needed an ultrasound performed at the National Hospital in Niamey. Miriam explained to Fati that an ambulance would take her to have the procedure done and that if the clinic would cover the cost. Fati's sweet demeanor and tragic story had touched both Laurie and I. Throughout the day, we thought about her often and were hoping to hear an update on her condition before we left the clinic. Just as we were getting ready to leave, Fati had arrived back at the clinic, but the prognosis was not what she had hoped for. Not only was she not pregnant, but she had a large growth on her ovary that would require surgery if she wanted to live. That night as a team, we prayed that Fati would be able to get the surgery she needed to live, and that one day soon she would be able to conceive the child she desired more than anything. Unfortunately, that's not how dear Fati's story ends. The next night, Miriam and her family visited the team and broke the news that shocked us all. That morning, Fati's mother came to the clinic and told Miriam that Fati had passed away that night. We were completely crushed to hear this. We were so optimistic for Fati, and her sudden death was the last thing we expected. Given her background, it's unlikely that Fati was a Christian. The fact of the matter is, I don't know if she was a Christian, because in all of my discussions with her, I did not ask her if she knew Jesus. Like you probably are now, I was dumbfounded by her tragic story. But in the midst of hearing it, I did not think to share with her how Christ could comfort the pain of not being wanted, that he could fulfill her in ways that her marriages could not, or that he could give her a hope that would exceed her desire to conceive. That night, my prayer was completely different. I prayed that God would always remind me of Fati, because in seeing her beautiful face one day and knowing that less than 24 hours later she was gone, I had a real and stark reminder that we are never guaranteed tomorrow. God used my encounter with Fati to remind me that I have to be bold in my faith and that I need to recognize and act on every opportunity that God provides to share my story. Now Jessica is going to talk about visiting the women's prison.